Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate you being here. My name is Nicholas Smith. I'm the Technical Sales Manager for the West Coast. I'm king of all things cool and excited to be here with you. I also have Matt Stamos on the line with us this morning. I'm going to be here to help field some questions and talk a little about some of the deeper integrations we have going on. Many of the details, including the webinar, will be up on the site a little bit later this afternoon, including some of the case studies and other pieces we're going to talk about during the show. So without further ado, let's talk about CatDV 10. I know that's why you're here, and I'm excited to show you all the great stuff that's going on in CatDV 10 today. Lots of new features. We're going to boil down and talk about each of those features and show you where they're at. So if you're following along at home, grab your pencils and computers and dive along with us. So, you know, as long as we're here, I have to talk about us. We're JB&A. We're your technology partner. You know, we're dedicated to building long-lasting, value-add business relationships, you know, with our resellers, our partners, and our end users. You know, if you don't know us, I say we provide the best customer service in the industry. Unique solutions, complete workflows, and honestly followed by the best training in the industry. If you haven't used our trainers yet, they're there. They're available to you, and, you know, they're experts in their own right. Get to know your JB&A partners. They're your best friends. So, you know, we're here about CatDV, so let's talk about it. You know, if you don't know CatDV, if you're using it already, great. If you're not, and this is an introduction to you, you know, what is CatDV? You know, CatDV is the award-winning asset management tool. It's at the heart of your workflow. You know, and for some people, it's their media asset management. You know, that's how they're using it. They're finding their tools. Other folks are using it for their digital asset managements. You know, beyond the video and the audio files, the still images, they're taking it to the next level. And other people are using it as their production asset management. They're tying the editorial process right into their MAM solution. You know, but for everybody, it's all about cataloging your digital media. You don't know what you have until you can find it. And you don't know what you have and, you know, what you need until, well, you can't find it. So there's where CatDV sits, right in the middle, unifying everybody together, and we're excited about it. Yeah, so who are the CatDV customers? You know who's using it. Some of you are these people: worship facilities, corporations, military, government, media and entertainment, of course, our biggest client, and education. So, you know, lots of diverse users with different needs. You know, it's interesting, as I go into the field and I meet with clients and I facilitate integrations, I don't find two workflows to be the same. Everybody uses it different. Everybody has different needs and requirements, and CatDV is flexible enough to meet those needs and kind of blend itself into your workflows. You know, some of our existing CatDV customers, as you can see here, some of you hopefully who are on the call are on this list. I'd be excited to know if that were the case. Some of you are on the call and not on the list, but you're utilizing the software. If you want to be on the list, let us know. We'd love to tell people who's using it and how excited they are about it. Lots of, you know, in different environments. Okay, case studies. So we released 3 new case studies earlier in the year. They're very diverse. So we've obviously got Gateway Church and the House of Worship, Kansas City Chiefs, and West Virginia University. So I think we've got 3 very robust, nicely written case studies to explain what the technology is. For the reseller partners out there, hey, these are great for emailing out to clients and explaining them how it's being used by different folks. We will have new ones coming on all the time as we develop new workflows, as we develop new integration partners like those of Quantum. We're going to see new case studies coming all the time, and we'll continue to add that to the list. And as you saw on the very first slide, all of these are on our website. So hit the website. You can download these today, as well as this meeting after the fact. All right, let's dive into why we're all here. What's new in CatDV 10? Lots of features, lots of changes, lots of new integrations. We're really excited about them. And first and foremost, it's just the look and feel. They call it Slate. It's a new updated look. It's a new GUI. It's a unified GUI between all the CatDV applications. It's got a simplified design, an updated look, and I'm really excited about it. I think it just really raises the bar and brings CatDV a little closer into the current generation of software applications. And if we want to look at it up close, it looks about like this. You can see here the buttons. Actually, let's grab a catalog here. And we can see the buttons are rounded on the edges. We've got a nice clean look overall. It's kind of simplifying the UI. So it's just really an updated look and feel that I think just improves CatDV and continues to improve upon what it's doing in the industry. So very pumped about that one. That's there. That's CatDV 10. As soon as you download the new version, you're going to see that look and feel. All right, so big things. QuickTime fixes and enhancements. QuickTime is the core playback library of CatDV. It's the piece that we use as the glue to allow you to view your videos and audios and all that. And it's always been at the heart of CatDV, but we're making it better. Better handling of long file names, better handling of exporting movies, the ability to create fast start, flatten movies so that they jump much quicker when you hit the play button. Lots of great stuff in there. Additional to that is audio scrubbing in the playhead. We can now turn it on and off, so you don't have to listen and annoy your cube mates right next to you as you're scrubbing through media files. You can turn the audio off or turn it on and even choose audio tracks within it. Great little feature there. Improved QuickTime Exporter. This is great. So one of the pieces is it's always been very deep in the menu to find the QuickTime Exporter or to adjust the settings. So now it's a lot closer to the front. It's up to, in fact, you know what? Let's stop talking about it and actually show where it's at. So if I select a movie file here, I'm going to go up to File, Export As, movie button's right on the top. Now we can see it immediately brings up the Export Movie dialog. And notice that QuickTime is right up front. Easy to get to. We've got some presets built right into it, so if you want to dive into some basics, they're there. If not, hit the Settings button. Now we've got an additional dialog box that adds a bunch of new features that you may not have seen before, and one more button click gets you right into the QuickTime Movie settings. From there, all of your codecs are available to you, all of your features that you are traditionally seeing in your QuickTime Exporter right there up front. 3 button clicks and you're inside of it. Much cleaner, much faster way to get to it. Additional new features in here. Additional audio track. We can now customize that secondary audio track. If you're doing multi-tracking or need a second language track, it's right there and available. We've got some additional size features right up front. QuickTime metadata, so we can add a timecode track, and we can do some annotations right up front as well. Oftentimes I hear from clients that they want to export specific CatDV metadata. Here's your way to embed it in the video clip as you send it out to a third-party partner. Burnt-in text and overlays are right up front as well. So all the features that we're used to doing in, say, a worker node or in a preset, we can now come in and customize on the fly and make that export happen much, much quicker from within QuickTime. Great feature right in here. Really excited to have this up close and up front for everybody to use. One other feature that I'm really excited to show within that one is the ability to tile video clips together. So if I select multiple video clips, export as movie, notice now I've got options for single movie combining all clip, separate movie for each clip, and we can kind of build all those together. I actually had a client ask me about this very feature recently. They get a whole bunch of clips. They want to put them all together and post them to a site as more of a reel. This is a great way for them to do it, and it's right here built into the GUI. No more jumping out to Final Cut or Premiere or Avid to meld all those together. You can do it right up front. Additional to that is proxy settings. So if we jump into our preferences, we go right into our proxies and thumbnails. All the usual features are right here that we're used to seeing. Now I can hit the settings again. I've got those same features available to me here, and one more button click gets me right into my movie settings. So again, QuickTime's right up front, much easier, faster to get to. So we're really excited about the deeper QuickTime integration and all the new features that we've got sitting inside of there. All right, let's dive back over to the proverbial PowerPoint and keep moving forward. So the QuickTime Exporter, it's there, it's ready to use. We're really excited for this deeper integration. The simplified export is movie dialog and proxy settings that I just showed you in the preferences. We can get to those much, much quicker now. They're simplified and easier to use. All right, so new Zuggle and Direct Show media framework. So what does this mean for the most users out there? You know, we don't feel QuickTime is the end-all be-all. There are other folks using things like Zuggle, JMF, FFmpeg. So this is offering the opportunity to utilize those libraries instead of just QuickTime. And especially over on the Windows side where QuickTime doesn't have the integration that it has in the Mac side, now we've got Direct Show support as well and the ability to kind of build your own media framework around that. So it's right in the software. In fact, if you go to your preferences, you'll see you've got options for turning it on. Let's get down to our media playback, and you can see here we've got our Zuggle, and we can even decide if we want to use Zuggle as a preferred playback or a QuickTime or JMF. So the options are there, and on the Windows side you'll see the Direct Show support in there as well. We're operating on a Mac today, so that option isn't available to me. All right, moving in. As always, keep posting your questions. If you've got them, log them in. We're going to answer them all at the beginning. So if I brush over something you want to know more about, just wait at the end and we're going to address all those questions. All right, so a brand new feature to CatDV is the disk space tool. This is a great way for you to determine what it is you're bringing in, how much space you have on your hard drive, scan your folders, report files that use extra space, look at file type location. And the great part is you can do all of this prior to bringing content into CatDV. So I'm really looking at this as a way for you to pre-scan folders before you import them. And the great part is we give you the tools to actually find duplicates as well. So let's dive over to the software and kind of show how this is going to work. So if we come up to Tools, Disk Space tool is right there. I'm going to click on that. It's going to ask me for a directory to scan. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a folder on my desktop here. It's going to scan through that. Immediately, it's going to show me all the files that are in there, their location, their size, any information about them. And I can even hit the Find Duplicates button and determine if there are any duplicates. Now I can do this prior to bringing anything into CatDV, so we can start to purge out the duplicates before we even get inside of CatDV. Dump those files and clean up our database prior to actually having a database. Additional to these, we can get more detail on the individual files. I can reveal those files in my Finder. I can see some file info on them, so we've got lots of tools right in here. This is a great new feature in CatDV. I'm really excited about this one. It's been rumored for a while. I'm happy to see it in version 10 and available. All right, let's keep plowing through. Talk about some other features. Larger thumbnail sizes. You know, this has been a request for a really long time. Everybody wants bigger thumbnails. Apparently the thumbnails that were in there weren't big enough, so huge and gigantic thumbnails have been added in. And really these are up to 512 by 384. So let's dive over into the software, talk about where we can find those. So if we jump into our CatDV preferences, come down to proxies and thumbnails, that button is listed right under here under the thumbnails tab. I'm going to click that and you can see now I've got options for huge and gigantic. If you already have an existing database, not to worry. Once we save these settings and get them on the server, I can now highlight specific files, and we can reanalyze or re-import that media and create new thumbnails. So we can ditch the existing thumbnails, create new ones, and bring them right into the software. No need to re-import your content. And now we've got the larger thumbnail sizes available to us. Again, this is a feature that's been a big request, so I'm really happy to see this one dive in there. So just more options overall for your thumbnail sizes. But lots happening in the thumbnail world. New paste thumbnail command. This is a great feature. You know, for a long time you've had the ability to take metadata by copying it and paste that metadata to another file. Now we've given you the option for that same thing, but to paste thumbnails. So I can take audio files associated with a video file that would normally just show a simple logo, and I can give it a thumbnail that's associated with a video that it came with. So better way to search our media, it's a paste thumbnail command. It's right under the edit button, paste thumbnails. We can paste those across multiple different types of files, anything that doesn't have its own embedded thumbnail, or if you really don't like the thumbnails that are there, we can share those around. But again, lots happening in the thumbnail world. And I think one of the really big ones that's exciting for me is reading thumbnails from Adobe Illustrator and InDesign files. This is a great feature because we've often painted CatDV as the ability to manage more than your audio and video files. When you look at your production, a production is not just about audio and video files. It's about the Word docs and the templates and the Photoshop files and the InDesign files and the Premiere files. All those pieces become a part of your production. So we're now giving you the ability to find those files and know exactly what you're looking at faster. In fact, if I type Photoshop in here, I've actually got a Photoshop file, and we can see it pulled the thumbnail about that particular file, and I can see what it looks like without having to open it in Photoshop. This is, I think, a really great feature. It'll work with InDesign, it'll work with Photoshop, and it's really going to speed up your workflow a lot more and allow you to utilize CatDV for more than just audio and video files. All right, so those are all the new thumbnail features. InDesign, Adobe, pasting, and making bigger thumbnails overall. So let's talk about some behind-the-scenes features that we've got within CatDV now, and specific to streaming proxies. You know, oftentimes we have clients who want to take the rich client outside of the office off the network. And the problem is, you know, you've got to be able to connect to get your metadata. And metadata is cheap. It travels across the open internet fast. But proxy files don't always do that so quick. And the web GUI may not have enough features that they want. So with the new HTTP streaming proxies, we give you the ability to take your proxy files into the cloud and put them on a media server. This could be an Amazon or a Brightcove or any media server you build that hosts your files up in the cloud, allows you to connect and use your CatDV rich client outside the office, but connect to cloud-based proxies that might stream faster. It's pretty easy to set up, although you will have to have your media server. We don't provide that for you, but a lot of you have it already, so now you can utilize that functionality and bring it into what you're doing on a daily workflow basis. It's not in CatDV, so this is a server feature, so you're going to have to go into the control panel, get to your setup wizard. Oh, I lied. Don't follow me if you're on home. Jump out of that, go to your server config, go to proxy web client, live HTML. It's hiding from me. Hold on. Proxy paths. Here we go. We're going to add a new proxy path. And now we can see we've got an alternative equivalent URL. So now you can paste in the URL for where your proxy files are in the sky. Obviously, the naming conventions and everything needs to match in order for them to connect into CatDV. But we've got the option there for you to now host your proxies outside the office. And for some of you, this may be an additional MAM or another media asset management application, and you want to connect CatDV to, so this gives you that capability. All right, so that's in the new server control panel. Make sure you're updated on your server. All right, let's keep rolling forward. LDAP and Active Directory support. This has been a request for a long time that folks have been asking for, the ability to tie into Active Directory or your LDAP in your larger facilities. Our bigger clients are asking for this because they have 25, 30 users, and honestly, they don't want to manage all the logins for them. So now within the CatDV server panel, we have the ability to add your LDAP server and manage your users and all their preferences based on that. So let's jump back into our control panel. We're going to get back into our server config, and notice there's the tab for LDAP. It's there. It's ready to be used. It's very exciting because it's going to hopefully take your admin and give them a little less work. Hopefully. DPX Image Support. So DPX files are a staple in the post-production industry. We know that to be true. You know, we've had the ability to bring in DPX files and view them, but it didn't always read the metadata appropriately, and it didn't play back necessarily best. So with the help of third-party tools like Glue Tools, if you have that codec installed in QuickTime, that increases the ability to play back those more seamlessly. And additionally, now we can read the metadata associated with those files as well. DPX is not a new feature to CatDV, but we definitely have much better, tighter integration with it and the ability to view the metadata that comes out of those much faster. So as we can see here, here's the DPX sequence that I ingested. We've got it logged as the individual files. You could obviously build these into a metaclip if you didn't want to deal with all of the individual files. But either way, now we can see all the metadata that was embedded in these files. And additionally, I can play those files back utilizing the Glue Tools plugin in QuickTime. Of course, it's a DPX sequence, so it's going to play back slow. Note to self, get faster computer. All right, so DPX Image Support. Still needs some extra help, Glue Tools to embed the QuickTime, but as far as reading the sequences and taking the embedded metadata, much, much tighter integration. All right, so speaking of integration, the moment everybody's been waiting for, improved integration with Adobe Premiere Pro. You know, for a long time, we've had really tight integration with Final Cut. We brought in Final Cut Pro X about a year ago. Now, CS6 is on board. So we've got some really neat features built into it to utilize CS6. So I'm going to dive out for a moment, get back into my software. Let's talk about some of the features that are happening in here. I'm going to open a catalog. I'm going to find a clip. There we go. Make sure I turn the audio off so I don't blow everybody's speakers out. Scrub through this clip. Notice we've got some markers already embedded on this clip. I've got lots of metadata. I want this file, and I'm going to send it out to Adobe CS6 or Premiere CS6. Let's go ahead and hit the Premiere button. It's going to take a quick second here while it connects to Adobe. There's my import file from Adobe popping up. And now if I jump over to Premiere, there's the bin that or the catalog that it came out of, the bin that it was sitting in, and there's my clip. And now I can drag this onto my timeline or into my viewer, and we can start to play this file back. I apologize for that, everyone. Our markers transitioned over as well. And our metadata came over that we had embedded, just like it would have in Final Cut previously. So we've got this nice send to CS6 feature now, so we can take clips. Now on the reverse side, everybody's immediately going to ask, can we round trip those files back out? Natively, not right now. But we can always export a Final Cut Pro XML and send that any new markers, any new metadata we created right back into CatDV and embed that into the system. But for the most part, right now, we've got the ability to find clips, send features right from CatDV, any of our bins. All right, so let's talk about something a little on the beta side. So anybody who has CatDV 10 is going to get the send to CS6 button. But here's a little something fun that is going to be coming down the food pipe here very shortly. So we're going to come over to Extensions, CatDV panel. This is still in beta, so this is not something that's available to the open market yet, but it will be shortly. So you have to buzz in with us. So what we have now is within CatDV, we've got the ability to search, within Premiere, we have the ability to search CatDV. So I've got my search bar. Actually, I need to log in first. There I am. Login's okay. So I'm now connected from Premiere right into my CatDV server. And I can search and find clips. If I double click that clip, it's going to bring up a viewer. I can see the metadata associated with it, all kinds of information about it, user fields right out of CatDV, history as far as where it's been, how it's been used. And if I want to take that file and send it right into Premiere, I hit the, not to log in. Yes, I'm okay. I hit the import button, and it's going to import that and drop it right in my bin. Again, this one is a little bit beta right now. This is going to roll out over the next couple months, but I'm excited to show you and show you the deeper integration that we have going on with Premiere. And now the ability to not even have to open up a CatDV search tool, but be able to jump right into Premiere, find clips, find features that you need, and bring those in. This is a great, great solution here. All right, I'm going to dive out of that. And let's get back over into our PowerPoint. So Premiere, CS6 plugin, coming soon. Immediately available, though, is the Send to Premiere 6 button. You can send clips, send files, send whole sequences right into CS6. All of your metadata is going to translate over with you, and you're going to have that available. Avid Media Composer is not new. We've had some integration with them for some time, but the import of file links now, let me say that one more time. Importing ALE files now links directly to the media. There's a new context menu, and event markers are going to copy and paste over from Avid as well. So some great new features there, a little bit tighter integration. I'd love to show it to you. If anybody wants to go a little deeper with it, please dial up the number at the beginning of the show. We can set up a webinar for your staff or for your users, and we can show them a little bit better on the Adobe Media Composer integration. All right, let's talk about Cachet. We've had a lot of connectivity to Cachet over the years, but it's always getting better, and that's what I'm really excited about. So many of you have been using the Pro caches for some time. Power caches came out earlier this year, and with it, larger libraries. So we're now looking at 48 tape libraries with multiple drives embedded in them. And with that comes new needs. So we've immediately made available a new plugin. It's separate from the one you have, but it allows you to connect to your Cachet library and view the separate tapes and the separate volumes you have in there. Additional to that is the Cachet status tool. So we've got this status tool that will pull status on tapes, on drives, on volumes, give you all kinds of information about what's going on with your Cachet device. It's all available with the new plugin. So if we jump into CatDV here, of course I need to select a clip. I'm going to go up to Tools. I'm going to go down to Archive Media Files. It's going to take a second to connect to the Cachet device. And of course I don't have one on right now, so I'm not connecting to it. Under this button here, notice it says it's looking at the main. We now see Cachet Library available to us. And if we go to the Status button, bear with me here as it wants to pull status. There we are, and now we've got all kinds of statuses available for us that we can pull directly from the Cachet library device. So in reality, better pulling of information on the fly and ability to control multiple tape drives in our power caches and pro caches, and specifically the libraries. See all the different tapes. Everything else is the same. It wants to play. There we go. It's not finding mine right now. And we can eject the tape right from the front. So great new feature. If you've upgraded recently or are looking to add library support into your Pro Cache or your Power Cache system, know that with CatDV we can now support those devices as well, coming right through the Cachet, through the CatDV interface. And let's be honest with it for a second. LTO is a phenomenal technology, but LTO and CatDV together are even better. It's like peanut butter and chocolate, one without the other. It's great to know you have the security of moving files over to your LTO and having them archived for a long time, but knowing what files are there is where CatDV comes in and can just make that solution even better. All right, let's jump back over a second. So another great integration that we're wrapping up right now is Nexidia. Those of you in the Avid world have been hanging on to this little secret for many years, the ability to search any spoken word in your video assets. And it's always been a very standalone solution. Well, now with the new Nexidia dialog search, what should we say, enterprise server, we have the ability to give that to more people than just a standalone user. And even better, we've got it tied into CatDV now. So it is a standalone server. It is its own solution. But the great part about it is it's got a wonderful interface. We can search for any word within our assets that have been scanned previously. They search very, very quickly because it's all done it's all pre-scanned as the media hits the server. Once I find the clip, so I'm going to go ahead and select this one, the interface is going to pop up. I can see all the markers here. So I search for the words Congress and Reform. We can see all of those right here. That time code hits, and I can hit the Send to CatDV button, and it's going to take all those markers and embed that in the CatDV server in the database. And now when you go back into CatDV, when you search, you're now going to see marker hits as well as the usual metadata that you already had in there. And it's going to look, in our web client, it's going to look something like this. So I've already got one set up here. Let me jump over. So if I come in and search for Congress, of course, my session timed out because I haven't logged in a while. Let me log back in. I'm going to search my MVC content, give that a second to pop up here. Now this is currently a standalone beta server that I've got running back east, but the long and the short of this is that you'll get these same functionalities outside of the web client in the rich client as well. There we go. Now we connected. I'm going to bring up our media. There's all our media. Now I'm going to search for Congress. No, really, I am going to search for it. There we go. There we are. I'm going to find the clip, and if I go over to my event markers, oh, I wasn't on that one. Oh, royal bust. I apologize, everyone. It was working earlier. No worries. The power of Nexidia, though, is pretty amazing, and we feel really blessed to be able to have this solution connected into CatDV so that we can take the metadata search to the next level and offer dialogue search as well. Now, it's not creating transcripts. It's purely going to take marker hits with the word that you searched, paste it into your metadata within CatDV, and make it a searchable asset as well. So really excited for that solution and being able to embed that into CatDV. If anybody out there has CatDV and would like to start testing this feature, we are looking for beta candidates, and I'd love to put you on the list to have this solution embedded in your CatDV server. So give us a shout out or an email afterwards, and we'll talk about getting you guys set up on that. All right, so I've got one other feature that I'm really excited to talk about today. And for a long time, we get questions all the time. Hey, what hardware should I put CatDV on? Hey, what solution should I use for CatDV? Will this Mac work? Will this PC work? Will this Linux work? Great. Those are all good questions. And oftentimes clients don't have a solution yet. Well, we worked hard with our partners at SNS to come up with that solution. So I want to introduce the new CatDB Server hardware. The picture is an Evo, so bear with me. It's actually going to be a 2RU server. It's Linux-based with a Windows client on it. So we actually put a Windows VM share on it so that we can embed the worker node. But in reality, it's one box that we can pre-configure with CatDV, optimize for CatDV, optimize for the worker node so that you can offer a new solution to your clients out there. It's rack mountable, so it's going to be very clean in a rack, and it's going to be a great solution to mix in into the CatDV ecosystem. So, and what I'm excited about is it's configured and optimized from the ground up for CatDV. We developed this around CatDV and our needs there, so it is now a dedicated hardware solution that we can bring in, rack up, and make your CatDV server. So I'm very, very excited about having the solution and presenting it to everybody. Call your reps or call JB&A directly if you're interested. The hardware is ready to go and should start shipping here shortly. All right, well, those are the new features. And if we want to just do a quick recap of those, the Nexidia dialog search feature, the new Cachet library support, the better integration with Avid Media Composer when it comes to ALE log files, the new Adobe Premiere integration, including the upcoming search client right within Premiere, which I think is just groundbreaking for us, the better DPX image support, the LDAP and Active Directory support, the tighter support for external streaming proxies, which is really going to allow you to take that rich client functionality out into the field and do more with it. Support for reading thumbnails from InDesign and Illustrator files. Support for pasting thumbnails to files that don't have embedded thumbnails or that CatDV can't read natively. The larger thumbnail sizes, the huge and gigantic. The new disk space analyzation tool. The completely new Zuggle and DirectShow media framework. And this is really big for the Windows users to have better support outside of QuickTime. The simplified QuickTime dialog settings, so getting to QuickTime faster and giving you more great features of what QuickTime is there for, including embedding and taking multiple clips and pasting them together into a single upon export. Audio scrubbing and being able to turn that on and off. The overall QuickTime fixes and enhancements, and the new Slate look and feel. These are all features that we think make it worth upgrading to CatDV 10 if you haven't, or are probably what got you on CatDV 10 in the first place. So we're really excited about these features. Happy to show them to you. If anybody needs to schedule a private webinar or get their, if any resellers need existing training, please reach out to your local reseller or call the phone numbers. In fact, I will bring those back up on screen here. And there it is. That's how you get a hold of us. So we're going to go ahead and start to knock out some questions. Matt, if you're on, if you've had a chance to look at any of them yet, now would be the time.
Let's scroll to the top. So we'll try to get to everyone's questions. There's a ton of them, so we'll do our best here. First question is, will drag and drop into Final Cut X be forthcoming? Well, the key, and I'll answer this one, Nikki. The key to the drag and drop is an application supporting Apple events. That is sort of the secret sauce that makes that happen. And currently, Final Cut X does not support Apple events as Final Cut 7 does. So we will have to kind of address that as we go.
So for now, it's going to be the Send to Final Cut Pro X button is really going to be the key to getting into Final Cut X.
You can also do it by creating the new Final Cut XML files. That works as well.
Gotcha.
But right now, it's just not supported on Apple's side, so it's not, unfortunately, not something we can just change in Final Cut X.
So it's not us, it's them, is what you're saying. Fair enough.
Well, I mean, fact of the matter is that's how that drag and drop works with Final Cut 7. So we need either that type of support or similar support to do that in other applications.
Sure.
HTML5 video. Well, there's HTML5 video really actually is typically two formats. It's WebM, which is supported with Zuggle, or X H.264, which there was also a question on. CatDV's web client supports HTML5 video, but the CatDV client itself, the rich client, does not.
Okay.
But yeah, HTML5 video is definitely supported in the web client. Yep.
Which really would come in well with those with those outside users in the web clients.
Yeah. Another question here is, can you batch process files out of the CatDV client? And the answer is yes. You simply select any number of files that you want to export. So yes, we can batch file that stuff quite easily.
I'm going to go ahead and hit File, Export, Movies.
Yeah,
and now we've got the choice of making single movie combining all the clips or separate movie for each clip, and bam, there we've got our batch and a couple button clicks, and I'm into my QuickTime settings.
There's another question about X.264. So you need to have that QuickTime component installed. If you have an X264 codec installed, you can use that codec. Sorry, the questions are, I'm looking in the smallest window ever at these questions, so bear with me here.
No worries, no worries.
So can the CatDV catalog structure better mimic the file and folder structure? The answer is yes, and you can automate that process with the worker node. So that's not a problem.
That's one piece we really didn't touch on very heavily was the worker node. And I can kind of dive on that right now.
Yeah.
So we released version.
There's a variable in there, Nick. There's a variable within the worker node that allows you to create the folder structure as catalog structure. And that's a little bit of an advanced question that we may not want to address in detail here, but if someone wants to contact us, we can help walk through some of that. Does direct show maintain timecode? I believe it does. I would maybe want to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it does. I think primarily you're going to be using direct show simply to play back Windows media files on a PC. So generally speaking, I don't think that that's going to be an important component because you're going to probably import those files with QuickTime and then just use direct show to playback formats that maybe are not supported by QuickTime. Can CatDV interface with media stored on the cloud? I think Nick covered this, but you can use an equivalent URL to stream proxies, both into the web client and to the rich client. So that's not a problem. Let's see, the worker node is constantly crashing. If you're having any crashing, folks, contact us directly. There's a new worker node and a new version 10 release that'll be due out either today or tomorrow that addresses a number of challenges people are facing in the field. We didn't go too deep into the worker node, but there are some great new features. We did upgrade to version 5 here just a little bit ago, kind of in prior to version 10 coming out of CatDV Server. But the new worker node 5 is out. Get it if you don't have it yet. It's got some great new features, a little bit more unified in its GUI and design, better processing within QuickTime. So same QuickTime core library, but they've added a lot more to it. So overall, it's some great upgrades and great new features in here. Yep, some of these you've addressed. CatDV is CatDV MXF aware. So CatDV, the way it supports MXF is really a two-part solution. Number one, there is an MXF component for CatDV client that I describe as wrapper support. Nick, if you want to jump to CatDV's website, there's a really good description of MXF on there. And then the second part is getting codec support. We typically recommend calibrated software because they really have a fabulous pricing and they're also cross-platform. So their QuickTime components for MXF are the ones we typically recommend, but you can use MXF for Mac and there's a number of other ones as well. So that works great. And that leads down, there's a question in here about Avid MXF. Again, same sort of question. If you have Avid MXF codecs loaded, we typically, again, recommend calibrated software. You can literally work in an entirely native MXF workflow with Avid MXF, P2 MXF, XDCAM MXF, as well as a host of other formats as well. Let's see. I don't understand this question. It's about Adobe. Let's see. We'll kind of skip over that one. So when you're pasting metadata from one clip to another, can you paste specific fields only? No, it's a broad stroke. There is, if you want to just quickly show the paste metadata command, Nick,
Yep.
we can look, and you have a little bit of control, but what we typically suggest is if you want to do this stuff in batches of individual fields, we would make a blank template or a new empty clip, as it's called. So
here we are with the paste metadata. You've got control. You've got
just user fields, just notes, or just event markers. Yep. Some control there, maybe not quite as granular as people would like.
No, we can definitely, there's some options here too to merge, which is not a bad piece. If you've got additional metadata that you want to maintain on those clips and add it, and add the new stuff to it, this is a great feature as well, being able to merge those together.
Yeah, there's a question here about subclipping. Don't totally understand the question, but CatDV treats subclips the same way most people do. Nick, can you quickly make a subclip here so we can see the icon change? So if you see that icon next to that video that looks like a little film strip in the thumbnail there, that is a master clip. As soon as Nick makes this subclip, we're going to notice that little icon change right next to it. That's going to actually have a slightly different icon that represents a subclip. We can actually import subclips from other applications. We can make our own subclips. So that little icon there is the subclip. So that actually works fabulously.
Yeah, so notice the difference here between the full multi-frame film strip versus just a single frame of a film strip.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a number of questions about Final Cut Server and bringing in all the metadata. If you guys ask those questions, hit us up directly. I don't have enough information in the question to effectively answer that. We'd certainly be happy to chat, though. So we did talk briefly about Avid. So there's a question about Avid. There is more Avid development in the works. We should expect something in the new year to round trip AAF. But currently, right now, with tools like MME, we can export AAF. We can also import and export ALE logs as well as copy and paste markers. Nick, if you want to show them a little trick, go to your event markers on this panel, and if you right-click in the top corner of the event marker panel, you can copy and paste your event markers. I think you had it under producers.
Yep.
If you right-click,
I don't have any on
time code. You don't even need to.
Well, I had to get to a page that actually had it.
That's okay. If you right-click on the little square next to the word time code up there in the corner, if you right-click up there, you can copy and paste your event markers, as well as copy and paste your event markers to Avid. So that's a new little.
I didn't even know about that one. Cool.
Let's see here. Is export to Avid. So again, let's talk specifically about Avid. So there's really two parts to this. We can very easily export a media file to Avid. If you want the media file to go with metadata, now we're talking about using ALE or AAF or some third-party component to make that all work.
So there's a question here about Nexidia coming bundled with CatDV or is an extra price. So it is its own standalone server, Nexidia is. So yeah, it's a solution you would purchase separately from CatDV, and then we would allow the two of them to communicate together.
Exactly. They both work as standalone products, or obviously they can be integrated. There's a question about having that search bar for Premiere available in Final Cut 7. I do not know. I do not think that is planned. We're seeing a pretty significant decrease in the use of Final Cut 7, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of new features for Final Cut 7.
And it's hard to continually support a product that's no longer sold. So it's one of those things that I don't see it going that direction.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
So integration with cloud-based storage, maybe an S3 or other, yes, absolutely, utilizing the new external HTTP server support. Yeah. A couple of people brought up some integration with other solutions, Tempo, Storage DNA. Those are absolutely out there.
Yeah, well, I want to address that really quick, Nick. There's a new plugin from Squarebox for Tempo integration, so it's actually embedded in the menu item. So it's a much more sophisticated, much more streamlined workflow with Tempo. Additionally, there's a new and improved streamlined workflow with Quantum. So Quantum Storage Manager is now supported, so you can do very sophisticated workflows with both Quantum and Tempo, which we're super excited about, and those have actually been very successful out in the wild as well. So again,
there was a good. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll say there's a good question here about adding metadata to a clip. directly into a clip to add chapter track, subtitle, SRT track. So the metadata actually, and if we look at into our settings and annotations, yes, you can absolutely embed some annotations into the metadata stream right within CatDV when you export a new clip. So if you're exporting that file, we can export out, add all kinds of annotations in for that information, and embed that into the metadata of the clip itself.
Yeah, here's a question. This one actually I get quite often is, does CatDV connect and catalog Avid's shared storage? Yes, we do. Again, you have to have the MXF option if you're using Avid DNX, and we can definitely manage the content, if you will, that's on an ISIS or a Unity. Let's see here. So SRTs, also, Nick, if you want to look, you can use the apply log file or import an SRT file directly. The apply log file under the tools command can apply an SRT file to a given clip.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question about integrating baseband Avid MXF captures. Not totally clear on that question. If you want to send that question to us directly, we'd be happy to chat. Apple compressor integration. There is ways to script working with compressor, but compressor does not use drop folders, so we won't be integrating that way. But there are some scripts out there, and if you just search for scripts, there's there's a wealth of information about integrating compressor with third-party applications like CatDV.
So there's a question here about the features of professional versus standard edition of CatDV. If you go to the CatDV website, there's actually a product matrix that will explain all the differences. They are far too long and too boring to talk about on a webinar, but I highly recommend hitting Squarebox's website, and you can look at the matrix there to see the differences between not just standard and professional, but workgroup and enterprise as well. Those become more important.
Let's see here. Oh, is CatDV can mux metadata directly to a clip to add a chapter track, soft subtitle, SRT track? Oh, you got that one.
Yeah, I snagged that one early on. Yep.
If one were to use a Mac Pro for a CatDV server, which one would you suggest? The fastest one you can get. Is there integration with Kaltura? What kind of integration with Kaltura? That is, both applications use reasonably standard protocols, so we can definitely integrate the two. But I would want to know what exactly you're looking for in integration.
Or better yet, just get the new server hardware.
Yeah.
More robust, bigger, well built from the ground up, and phenomenal support from the SNS guys on this solution. So.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Is there metadata integration with Kumu? I'd have to look into that. Again, these integration questions, we would want more detail about the expectations.
There would be something along the lines of exporting an XML file from Kumu, or some kind of RTF file to bring that data in.
Yeah. There is upgrade paths out there for folks that want to upgrade from previous versions of CatDV. Certainly contact your sales reps. There's a question about Zuggle support. You do need to install Zuggle separately. There's a link to installing that on CatDV's website. So it is not bundled with CatDV installer. You have to install that separately.
There's a question here about upgrade prices from version, so the upgrade prices are all based on your current package and how far behind, if you're on version 9, version 8, version 7. So contact us via the numbers before, and we can price that out for you.
There's a question here that says, I keep hearing this is a full-time job for someone to maintain. We're actually not really seeing that. We're seeing the most successful deployments actually spread the CatDV workload, if you will, across multiple users. If there's just one person managing it all, those are usually the deployments that struggle. We do have customers doing that, but there's very few people that have the job title of asset manager. We do have some successful deployments with a single person sort of being what we refer to as a CatDV administrator. But our most successful deployments really do spread that workflow across multiple departments having multiple leads for multiple groups within their workflow.
So there's a good one here about where to find scripts. There are no, well, I mean, the scripts are out there. We don't support, we don't necessarily make those and post them. There are a lot of our resellers and our channel partners have a ton of scripts and are customizing those. But most scripts are designed specific around your workflow. So grabbing somebody else's script and pasting in may not be the best solution. I would talk to one of those channel partners out there about customizing some for you. And then sending clips with metadata to Kaltura could be done either with an XML export along with the clip. It would just really depend on how Kaltura wants to see that data.
Yeah, and CatDV just to give a little more detail, CatDV could, for example, export a media file with a sidecar XML, and we could potentially apply an XSLT or a translation of that XML into Kaltura's format. It certainly require a little bit of elbow grease, but if Kaltura can accept a sidecar XML, we can certainly make that happen.
Yeah. Now there's a great one here about selling stock clips using CatDV. So I'm interested in the actual payment processing as well as the download of different resolutions. So CatDV is really designed as an asset management tool, it's a production tool. Doesn't have the ability to kind of tie into the payment system. That solution is actually Imagen, which is another asset management tool that you can get information from us. And we've actually designed the connectivity between the two of them so that you can send from CatDV into the Imagen solution and have a nice portal that's customized for your clients or for yourself to be able to take payments right there on the website and sell in different resolutions. So that would be another solution that we would lay on top of CatDV.
Yeah, there's a question about the new A-Tempo plugin. That's a line item, but we can certainly demo it for you. If you want information about that more specifically, email us directly. Let's see. Does the Windows Media Enhancement allow full screen playback? CatDV actually will do full screen playback, but it typically has the waveform below it. But it does do full screen playback. If you want to do full screen without the kind of monitor and all that stuff, the Windows menu, the menus and things like that, we would probably want to use a different application. CatDV is not really designed for that style playback.
The tempo, let's see. Report if media is online or archived. Yes, absolutely. So you're going to get let's jump to a list view here, see if I've got anything offline. So you'll actually get a red line through your film strip to show that the media is offline. And we would, in the archive process or in the actual window browser here, we would generate a metadata hole for the archive to be shown. So that it's basically a status field for that particular file to show that it is offline and has been archived. So yes, we can show that.
Now, there's a number of questions about interfacing with storage devices. Sorry about that. There's a number of questions here about interfacing with storage devices. CatDV is really integrated with a vast majority of the storage devices out there. It's an extraordinarily long list. But there's individual challenges with individual storage devices, but we really don't have a lot of problems interfacing with storage. There's a second question about integrating with Telestream's episode engine. We have
Absolutely.
a fairly basic integration with Telestream episode using watch folders. Actually works quite well, but it does not have a formal sort of API integration. But again, we've actually been very successful just sort of using the watch folders.
Well, and you can take that to another level if required, utilizing some scripting through the worker node to control the command line interface for episode. So if you purchase the additional command line interface control of episode, you can actually start to do some more integration on that side. But it is more very deep scripting. And with the worker node, there's a lot that can be done without having to know scripting. That can just be done on watch folder actions, like Matt was saying. So. In a more beginner or less expensive method, I would say go to the worker node first, and you'll be amazed by what you can do just via watch folders.
Oh, Imagen. Can you launch or type in Imagen? Someone's asking the Imagen 2 product line. Yeah, yep. We're really excited about this product. In fact, we specifically brought it on for its ability to monetize content in a public-facing sort of tool. So while he's bringing that up, though, can you comment on the review and approval process workflow? So review and approval process in CatDV is creating, using our CatDV worker node to create metadata triggers, so that I mark something as send to Nick for approval. Nick gets an email, and a clip shows up, say, in a catalog for his box, and then he can mark it approved, and we can trigger automation based on the review and approval process. So it's actually very simple and something typically covered in great detail during CatDV's training process.
Yeah, so here's a sample of one of the Imagen websites, one of the front end portal of their management solution, and they're all very customizable. You can kind of form them to whatever your needs are and your particular features are, but the actual company is Cambridge Imaging, and the product is Imagen. There's the Imagen Web, which is the front end portal, and then Imagen 2, which is the back end portal
and
that kind of manages the website.
Nick, also on our website is a really great landing page. And has some downloadable PDFs. So our website actually, our web designer Laura does a fabulous job with these landing pages, oftentimes kind of simplifying our vendors' websites and making them a little more digestible. Quantum is also new. We're super excited about that. Let's see what other questions we have in here. Does the cloud web client automatically upload proxies from local CatDB server? I'm not sure I understand that question. If you have questions about how CatDB's web clients use media, we're delighted to answer those.
I think I see what they're saying. So the web client utilizes the CatDV proxy files. So that is the initial proxy file, or the file that is used in the web client would be the proxies first, and then if you opt for the alternate URL or putting it in the cloud version, then it would utilize those instead. But I think what they're asking is, the web client itself, which files does it use, and that would be the proxy file.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I think let's have a chat about that. We find that it ends up being a serious discussion about bandwidth and security and things like that, and connectivity. So those are things that are often not necessarily considered in great detail when talking about cloud-based storage of video. And what we also find is that bandwidth is usually not as big of a challenge as people think. Usually people have enough bandwidth to stream CatDV web clients quite easily. If you guys have individual questions, certainly reach out to your individual sales reps at JB&A. If you're not sure who that person is, you can simply email sales@JB&A, and we'd be delighted.
Contact info is right here. Yeah, hit the phone number, hit the website, hit the email address. That's your fastest way to get answers. Everybody, hey, I thank everybody for staying on. It looks like a lot of you stayed through our chit-chat and our banter here. Appreciate it. As always, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and stay tuned for new and exciting things happening from JB&A, and specifically CatDV.